Our next guest is Carolyn Purdy, and I thought it was very unusual when I first met Carolyn that when she chose to be a cat volunteer, I thought, how appropriate with the last name of Purdy. And Carolyn, tell us how, you haven't been volunteering for very long, but I can tell you that in the time that you've been volunteering, I see you here a lot. So that tells me that you really love cats. So how did you get started being a volunteer here at the Oshkosh Area Humane Society?
Well, I'd been thinking about it for a long time. But after I retired, I was looking for a cat to adopt, and I found one here. I fell in love more than once, but I adopted a small cat from here. And then I was made aware of the volunteer program and filled out the application and went to the training, and I've been coming twice a week ever since. That was about 2 years ago.
And when you come twice a week, about how long do you stay?
I try to stay 3 hours each time.
Okay, but you don't have to stay those 3 hours.
No.
If you have something else going, you
That's one of the things I like about volunteering here, is that it's a completely free schedule. I can come and go on my own time frame.
Okay, well that's wonderful. And what do you like about working with the cats?
Well, they just all want attention. They just all need to be loved and petted, and I just talk to them as I would a person, and we carry on some interesting conversations. And I like to groom them, and I love to just sit and hold them because they like that personal contact.
Right, they need that personal touch.
And I try to groom them kind of at the same time, and definitely play. We like to play a lot. And then if they need something, water, food, whatever, I try to take care of that because I know that other people are busy too. Mm-hmm. And I try to spend as much time with each kitty as I can.
What about the shy kitties? I mean, now part of the training, I know part of the volunteer training is we talk about body language and different things. Mm-hmm. Have you ever worked with a shy kitty and have seen that cat change, or what,
Oh, definitely, yeah. I've worked with animals all my life. When I was living on the farm, I made pets of everything. And so if a kitty seems to be a little shy, I get right down on their level and talk to them and touch them softly at first, and pet them, offer them a treat, and I can usually get them to come out of whatever their shelter is at that point.
That's good.
And it really makes me feel helpful. It makes me feel like I'm doing something that is going to make that cat more adoptable.
Right, because if they're hiding in their little hidey box, they're not going to be coming out or being seen by other people. And I think it's important for people to know that that's real, and our staff doesn't have time to do that.
No.
I wish we could spend all of our time playing with the cats. I'm kind of envious. I see you in some of the kitty condos, not teasing, but playing with them with the laser light. Do you find that that's the best interaction toy for the cats here at the shelter?
It is a very good interaction toy, and it's a very easy one to use. Because you can lead them virtually anywhere with one of those lights. You can lead them around the room or up one of the kitty posts or all over. They just really love that.
Now, I hear from people all the time, and I asked Joby the same question. People would say to me, oh, I could never do what you do. I could never volunteer there. It's too sad. There's so many animals. What's your response to that when people say that too? Because I'm sure as a volunteer, people ask you, say the same thing.
Yes, especially when I'm out in the community representing the shelter. And my answer to that is no, the shelter is a very happy place. And I know that I have 2 at home, and 2 is my limit, even though I fall in love every time I come down here.
I think we all do.
But I always tell people, you need to know what your own limits are and what you can do, and just enjoy the others, the ones that you can't adopt.
Right. A little love every day is better than no love at all.
Yes. So it's wonderful for me.
Yeah. And now you don't just volunteer here on site. Now you've been involved with a couple other outreach programs.
Right.
What is that like?
Well, that's fun too, because I'm an avid people watcher. And I've been at the fairgrounds for an event. I've been down at the convention center. I've been over at the Boys and Girls Club. And people always want to talk. If you just open up and say hello to them, tell them about the shelter, ask them if they're interested in volunteering. Sometimes we have an animal there with us, sometimes we don't. But that's fun too, just get out with the public.
Okay, and I know that at one of the outreach things you were at, we had a little game for the kids to play, and you really enjoyed working with the kids, and so that's something else that people can do. I think a lot of times, I know that when I first started here, I would tell people, if you can smile and say hello, we want you as a volunteer. We need you as a volunteer to, you know, just open that up. And I know that myself, if somebody asks me about my pets, I have a tendency to talk too much, and I think the same is true with people in the community.
Oh, I whip out the pictures.
So, but I think everybody enjoys talking about their pets and learning more about them. And I think that's something else too, that people don't realize, that the Humane Society is a resource center for that information. Because I know at the public booths that we have, awareness booths, that sometimes people will come up with questions, and I think they're surprised that you and I may not have all the answers, but we can point them in the direction that they need to go. So why would you encourage people to come in and consider volunteering at the shelter?
I've made a lot of good friends here, both human and animal, and I think that's a very important part of the volunteering too. If the volunteer is happy and the animals are happy, the public sees that and they say, I want to be a part of that.
And we're very glad to have you be a part of that. So I'd like to thank you, Carolyn, for being on the show today, and hope that we'll be seeing much, much more of you sitting in those kitty condos, loving up those kitties.
The reaction that the people have when they see me sitting in those condos is always interesting too.
Yes. They often wonder if you're up for adoption.
Yes.
But no, we're keeping Carolyn. She's our volunteer, and we're going to keep her. So thanks again.